All right. So we had the news after the July 4th show that Hirooki Goto would not be participating in the G1. And with that news, his spot would be filled by having a second chance gauntlet match among the losers of the play in matches. So that meant Kojima, Chase Owens,
Right.
Taichi, and
Hell yeah.
Tomohiro Ishii, who
Yeah.
dropped those play-in matches, would be in a gauntlet match at Korakuen Hall, added in order to fill that last spot. Again, Jeremy, I go back to this, that Taichi talked all year about how he was embarrassed that he didn't get in the G1 last year and how bad it hurt him. Yoshihashi pissed off that he didn't get in and disappointed that he didn't get to participate last year. They come around this time. Yoshihashi saves us from Chase Owens, right? Defeats Chase Owens, keeps the House of Torture out. Taichi falls, though. He loses his match, and he doesn't get into the tournament, and he's crushed again and devastated. Although he, was encouraging toward Callum Newman that Newman did get in. He didn't, he wasn't a spoil sport about it. But he was deeply saddened. Then we find out there's one more chance for Taichi. I feel like this might have been the plan all along. I just feel like this might have been the story along they're telling all along.
I don't buy it for a second.
All right.
This fell into their lap. I do believe Goto made the decision that he had to bow out because he felt like he couldn't compete on the full schedule. But the magic...
are you saying that he was actually injured in the match with Zach?
I think there's a reality that he was either injured going into it or, he did actually accentuate an injury. And they're like, well, we're already at the point where I know like we're screwed. So you might as well just make it look good.
Well, no, I mean, he may have gone into that match knowing I've got to drop this belt because I need my own. And then they did this whole plan with Taichi. I don't think they pulled Goto. I don't think that New Japan found out on July 5th that Goto wasn't going to be able to compete.
No, but I don't know if they knew going into the Tanahashi Jam that he couldn't be able to compete. I think there might have been a decision made after that. There's no benefit to not having Goto into this tournament. It works out. There's a lot of things that, line up really, really well, and it's very convenient. But that's also why you have good booking. Like they had people ready to go for this scenario. And frankly, the stars aligning for Taichi to get into the G1 this year. It's not even the play-ins, Steven, because, okay, the beginning of the year, you still had Naito here. You still had Jeff Cobb. And you had Goto in the mix. All three of those guys would have easily been in the G1 if they were still here. But they happen to not be here. So that's the first circumstance that kind of clears the way for a possibility of Taichi being in there. Then they do all the play-ins, and they're like, okay, it looked like Taichi and Ishii, we're just going to give you the tag belts, and when everything's all said and done, we'll probably set you up for some kind of feud coming out of that based off of everything that's going on. And then they do that. And then you have the play-ins, and you have Taichi just have a heartbreaker of a match and put the guy over and do the business right. And you see even in the backstage comments of that one, it's like, man, it really sucks. Like, I really wanted this. And that was what, in July or June on the 23rd? That wasn't on the July 4th one. So, like, that emotion and that whole sense of regret that he had then made me feel like, okay, this is genuine. This dude is really heartbroken. The narrative that they had in that match where it was basically like, he needs to win this match or else he's never going to be in a G1 again. That was word that they were talking about in that 23rd match, on that match on the 23rd. That, to me, says this was never on the radar that any of this happened. Goto getting injured, Naito leaving, Cobb leaving, all of these things, all the way up to the point of the gauntlet match, and then you get a gauntlet match. That's the magic of that gauntlet match to me, is that 2 days beforehand, this wasn't even a dream. It wasn't even on the match listings. This all happens like, all right, you guys, we're going to do this. We're going to set up the match, and you're going to talk about the match in here and what happened.
Yeah.
But here's what we're going to do. We're going to give you a banger.
I'm still laying my money that they knew Goto wasn't going to be the G1 before Tanahashi Jam, and they
I would
planned this,
love to
basically.
find out the answer to that one, and maybe I'll try to.
After this, things got flat out ethereal because then we had the A block play-in gauntlet match. So this is the second chance. So of course, it started off with Chase Owens and Satoshi Kojima. It was according to the story here. This was randomly chosen. They had 4 people. They picked 2 out of a hat, and then or 1 through 4, however they did it. They just announced Chase and Kojima are starting. We never really got the full skinny on that.
It made for a better match that way. That's why they did it.
Chase ended up pinning Kojima, so Chase moved on, and after that came Taichi. So Taichi came out, and they were going back and forth. Taichi ends up beating Chase with a jackknife pin. So when that happened, the crowd started buzzing a little bit more here. I mean, they were into Taichi when he came out, just because Taichi's a sentimental favorite. When he beat Chase, there started to be a real buzz because for a couple of reasons. 1, Taichi was getting close. 2, it's either Taichi or Ishii. So now we have good news either way, right? As soon as Taichi beat Chase, I knew that he was going to go through because I don't think Ishii can handle a G1 anymore physically. And I think that's, otherwise I think they'd have put him in it because he can have great matches still. And this is case in point. Can he have 9 hard matches like that over the course of a month? Probably not anymore.
No.
So Taichi, it'll be a test for him at his age to do it, but he looks like he's willing and ready. So when Ishii and Taichi came out, the match basically kind of started over again. Ishii certainly didn't jump him or anything like that. And this match, Jeremy, one of the best New Japan matches of 2025. And it goes to what I've been saying for a while, Jeremy, is that the Goto Revolution, this big sentimental thing where Samurai Dad and he lost his father and everyone's been behind him. It's a different kind of thing, but there is a sentimental feeling in the crowd for Taichi too. And I said, if who would be next after Goto? It's Taichi. If Taichi got the big one finally, I think the place would go berserk because it's a different story than Goto, but the same type of thing where somebody who has been at the precipice but never there, finally getting it, and somebody that the fans love. Ishii is one of the best sellers in the business still when he wants to. Sometimes for the United States, I feel like he has boiled his act down too much to the point where it's just a few things, most of which involve forearming and staring at the opponent. Here, we got the old Ishii who was motivated. This was a G1 match. This was Ishii's G1 climax. This was his one taste of the G1 this year, and he was going to put on a show.
You're going to make me break with the way you're saying it.
What? Am I?
You're gonna. I don't know. It's just funny. It's like it was a climax. He was just reaching out.
All right, but Taichi hit a lot of All Japan moves in this one. He used Toshiaki Kawada's power bomb. He used Mitsuharu Misawa's Emerald Flosion. He hit the lariat and backdrop suplex from Jumbo Tsuruta, including the shout to the crowd that Jumbo used to do. Fans really love both these guys, and this whole thing seems tailored to get Taichi to this point, this one final victory right here. And if Goto is actually hurt, then they handled it well by booking it this way. If this is all manipulation, then it's a little bit of genius there. If they have to take it off Goto, this is a nice distraction. This match was amazing. Black Mephisto finally finished it off. There was an actual explosion in the crowd. The people were into it all the way. Great stuff. And after a 4th of July card that was just kind of okay, this was a wonderful finish for the weekend.
Yeah, so this match was booked brilliantly because it played off of every single fear that it felt like the Western world had about Chase Owens and, Satoshi Kojima's in there instead of Fale. But had Fale been in there, we wouldn't have gotten this match because they would have had to lay it out completely differently that way. You had Kojima and you had Chase Owens, and Chase Owens beat him, and then House of Torture comes out to completely screw with Taichi during their match. And then you have Ishii as the cavalry coming in. Basically, no, we're doing this the New Japan way. we're getting rid of all these guys, and these two are going to have their match. And while, he cleared the ring, Taichi pins Chase Owens clean, and House of Torture is just gone. And then Ishii's over there. He's slapping him in the face. He's like, all right, get your bearings, buddy. We're going. And just that whole, like, get your bearings, buddy. We're going. And then I don't even know how long they went, but the priming of the final part of this gauntlet was fantastic. Because at any point, they could have given you Chase and Ishii to finish it out or whatever. But the minute Taichi came out third, you kind of knew where this was going, because Ishii, in my mind, was never going to be in the G1. Like, Taichi is the perfect one-to-one replacement booking-wise for whatever Goto was going to do in the G1. The wins and the losses are a one-to-one transferable quantity, given the stories that you could tell about one of the older guys trying to hang and stay relevant. Everything worked. I think everything was just a fortunate scenario based off of the fact that, everybody's been booked without stupidity. Taichi, he's been given the short end of the stick, but he has been a company man for the last year. Even before last year's G1 and those plans, he has done everything, and he is just like, I don't want this to be the end of the road for me. I still love doing what I'm doing. I still love being a New Japan wrestler. And the fact that, there were 20 people on July 4th, and then suddenly there's 19, and you can just look and like, well, son of a bitch, Taichi, I guess it's you, buddy. And just the tears on his face, right?
Yeah.
Like, my road isn't over yet. Like, my time in New Japan, my best days might be behind me, but this isn't done, and this company still needs me. I still have value. Like, I feel like I got all of that from him in that, like, in the ring. Just this validation of like, no, I still have something left to offer, and this crowd it got me where I needed to be. And the brotherhood with him and Ishii, the roads that they've traveled for over 10 years, like, the fact that they finally get to do like stuff like this, and just like everyone else, like, you look around and all of their brothers are gone. Like, they're like the roster is starting to thin out. People have died. People have retired. People have gone to other promotions, and you just kind of like, you're still here, and you're still here. I'm like, you're my guy, kind of thing. And I'm getting a whole lot of like, these two are brothers. That's what I get out of their relationship.
And Brad says, find you someone who loves you like Ishii loves Taichi. Yeah, they really do seem to be a tight unit. And thrilled that they're still the tag team champs. So there's still that story to tell too.
Yeah. Right. And Taichi will have an opponent set up for them afterwards, and all will be well.